Nikola Tesla was born on July 10, 1856, into a Serbian family in Smiljan, which was part of the military frontier in the Austrian Empire, now located in Croatia. His father, Milutin Tesla, served as a priest in the Eastern Orthodox Church. Milutin's brother, Joseph, taught at a military school and wrote several math textbooks. Tesla's mother, Georgina Juka Mandic, who also had a father that was an Eastern Orthodox priest, was skilled at creating household tools and machines, and had a great memory for Serbian epic poems, despite not having any formal schooling. Tesla believed that his exceptional memory and creativity came from his mother's genes and the influence she had on him. Milutin Tesla was a talented student who graduated with top honors in 1845. He married Juka Mandic, who was 25 years old at the time, in 1847, after being assigned to lead the parish in Senj, located on the Adriatic coast. They moved into a house that sat on a cliff with a view of the ocean and started their family there. Tesla was the fourth child in a family of 5, having 3 sisters named Milka, Angelina, and Marika, and an older brother named Dane. Milutin Tesla was later moved to the Church of St. Apostles Peter and Paul in Smiljan. He was given a charming farmhouse, a fertile piece of land, and even an Arabian horse to visit his parishioners. Besides being an intelligent man with a large collection of books on various subjects like religion, math, science, and literature in multiple languages, Milutin Tesla was also dedicated to improving the Serbian community. He frequently wrote for different newspapers and worked hard to set up schools that taught Serbians how to read and write. According to his family, Nikola Tesla came into the world at midnight during a powerful thunderstorm between July 9th and July 10th, 1856. His childhood was considered joyful, shared with his older siblings and a younger sister, Marika, who was born in 1859. Tesla often played with his black cat, Macaque, who first amazed him with a loud spark when he pet him, which his father explained as electricity. In another memorable moment with Macaque, Tesla noticed a glowing halo around his beloved cat that lit up the candlelit room where he was sitting. These experiences sparked Tesla's curiosity as a child. Encouraged by his mother's inventive nature, he spent a lot of time experimenting, drawing plans for flying machines that resembled helicopters, taking apart clocks to understand their mechanisms, and even designing them himself. He had a toy sword made of wood, so he could imagine being a brave Serbian fighter. However, behind this fascination was a troubled young mind. Tesla shared that, as a child, he dealt with a strange problem where he could not tell dreams from reality. Tesla's childhood difficulties worsened when his older brother, Dane, died in 1863 after being killed by the family's Arabian horse in a disturbing event that would continue to trouble him. In 1861, Tesla started primary school in Smiljan, where he learned German, math, and religion. In 1862, his family relocated to the nearby town of Gospic, where his father served as a parish priest. Nikola finished primary school and then went on to middle school. In 1870, Tesla moved to Karlovac to attend high school at the Higher Real Gymnasium, where classes were taught in German, as was common in schools in the Austro-Hungarian military frontier. Later, Tesla mentioned that he became fascinated by the electricity demonstrations presented by his physics teacher. He remarked that these displays of this mysterious force sparked his desire to understand this amazing energy better. Tesla could solve complex calculus problems in his mind, which led his teachers to think he was cheating. He completed a 4-year course in just 3 years, graduating in 1873. After finishing school, Tesla went back to Smiljan, but soon caught cholera, which left him in bed for 9 months and very close to death multiple times. In a moment of hopelessness, Tesla's father, who had initially wanted him to become a priest, promised that he would send him to the best engineering school if he got better. For 9 months, starting in early fall of 1874, Tesla roamed the woods and lakes in Eastern Europe, getting physically and mentally stronger as he thought deeply about inventing, turning his clear visions from a painful burden into a powerful tool for developing the ideas that flashed in his mind. When Tesla got back, his father kept his promise by securing him a scholarship with the Military Frontier Administration Authority, allowing him to study for 3 years at the Polytechnic School in Graz, Austria. During his first year, Tesla showed that he was an excellent student, never missing a single class and reportedly studying from 3 a.m. to 7 p.m. Every day, a routine so intense that one professor wrote to Milutin, cautioning him that unless his son was taken out of the school, he might work himself to death. Others praised him for his dedication, such as the dean of the technical faculty, who informed Milutin Tesla that his son was a star of first rank. However, aside from communication problems, he also got there too late and could not sign up for classes. Therefore, Tesla was only allowed to sit in on lectures without receiving official grades during his time there. In 1881, Nikola Tesla got his first job at a telecommunications company in Budapest called the American Telephone Company. He was hired as an electrical engineer by Theodore Puskas, who had worked before with Thomas Edison, the creator of the light bulb, at Edison Laboratories in Menlo Park. By becoming a useful employee and sharing his discoveries with co-worker Anatol Sikity, Tesla kept studying the idea of alternating current in his free time. He suggested that a motor powered by circuits that were out of sync could provide steady electricity, but he knew he had to learn how to achieve rotating magnetic fields for the system to work. While walking in the park with Anatol Sikity in February 1882, Tesla suddenly had a brilliant idea and solved the problem of rotating magnetic fields. He explained the idea of an induction motor to his friend by sketching its basic design in the sand with a stick, outlining a new kind of engine that, unlike the direct current or DCL type, did not require a commutator, which was an ineffective cylindrical device made with metal that needed regular upkeep. Impressed by Tesla's brilliance, Theodore Puskas suggested that Tesla should go to Paris to work for his old associate, Thomas Edison, at his company, Continental Edison Company, which focused on electrical equipment. There, he was first tasked by his boss, Charles Batchelor, who had been with Edison since 1870, to design dynamos. These machines changed mechanical energy into electrical energy and were commonly used in direct current systems. In his free time, Tesla kept improving the AC theory after he was assigned to a project in Strasbourg, where he created the first prototype of an induction motor. Unfortunately, he couldn't gain significant interest in alternating currents. This was a pity since alternating current is now seen as a more efficient way to deliver electricity than direct current. Direct current, which became the standard for electricity delivery in the late 1800s, consistently pushes electricity in one direction along a grid. In contrast, alternating current regularly reverses and changes direction along a system as its power level fluctuates. Alternating current is much more effective than direct current. Tesla's mistake, if it can be called that, was that he was simply ahead of his time by suggesting that alternating current was the superior way to generate energy. He was right, but the technology available back then still favored the simpler direct current method. Soon Tesla found himself in another financial struggle after spending all his earnings. His time at the company aimed to impress his boss, Charles Batchelor, who believed that Tesla had the smarts to work with Thomas Edison. In 1884, when Batchelor returned to the U.S. to run the Edison Machine Works, he requested that Tesla come to the country too. Despite his strong disagreement with direct current, Tesla was assigned to improve the DC motors created by Edison, who thought Tesla's ideas about AC were too risky and impractical. This difference in views sparked a rivalry that would last a lifetime. Initially forced to create something he didn't believe in, Tesla became frustrated. He started to highlight the flaws of direct current and argue for the benefits of alternating current, pointing out that Edison's direct current only powered dim lights. Instead, he suggested that generators should be designed based on his polyphase principle, believing that electricity works in cycles. Tesla also argued that one of direct current's main drawbacks was the need for expensive power stations set up every 2 miles, since it couldn't keep high voltage over long distances. On the other hand, he claimed that alternating current which switches direction 50 to 60 times every second, was much better since it could maintain different high voltage levels and reduce power loss over long distances. This is why, today, the electricity sent to customers through power grids is AC, which maintains energy over long distances using transformer stations that lower the AC voltage over a specific range. When AC power arrives at a location like a house, it's used directly for machines such as washing machines. However, for smaller devices, AC can be switched to DC with diodes in the device's power supply, which allow the current to flow in just one direction, thus providing a steady power flow. To distance himself from Edison and promote the use of alternating current, Tesla launched his own business in 1885 called the Tesla Electric Light Company. He was supported financially by two wealthy sponsors, Robert Lane and Benjamin Vail, who believed that alternating current was the future. However, like many challenges he faced later, Tesla requested too much money from his investors. Concerned about the risks of AC, they kicked Tesla out of his own company that same year, which forced him to survive for most of 1885 by working as a repairman and even doing physical labor, where he earned only $2 a day digging ditches. After realizing his errors in 1886 with the help of Alfred S. Brown, a philanthropist and Western Union manager, along with Charles F. Peck, Tesla founded another business named Tesla Electric. This new company was located in Manhattan, New York, where he completed the designs for the polyphase induction motor. In 1888, he amazed the scientific world by presenting a significant paper to the American Institute of Electrical Engineers titled A New System of Alternating Current Motors and Transformers. George Westinghouse, a notable inventor known for creating the railway air brake, and the leader of Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company, was particularly impressed. His interest grew after visiting Tesla's lab a few days later, where he saw an early version of the polyphase motor. Believing that Tesla's innovative invention could supply power to the United States, Westinghouse bought all 40 of Tesla's innovative patents related to generators, motors, and transformers needed for a polyphase alternating current system. He also hired Tesla as a consultant for a year at the Westinghouse factory in Philadelphia, where some of the first commercially available AC devices would be produced. The launch of the first AC machine in 1886 was the start of a fierce competition known as the War of the Currents, which lasted from 1888 to 1892 and stacked alternating current against direct current. During this conflict, Edison tried to use his influence to turn public opinion in his favor. Despite clear proof that AC was safer and more effective over long distances, he published numerous articles in major media outlets warning about the dangers of alternating current. Still, Edison could not convince his biggest financial backer of DC's advantages. John Pierpont Morgan, a powerful Wall Street investor, merged Edison General Electric with Thomas Houston Company, which focused on alternating current, removing Edison's name to create General Electric and fully transitioning to AC technology. With Edison pushed aside, alternating current proved to be the clear winner of the War of the Currents. Westinghouse saw his annual revenue grow from $800,000 in 1887 to $4.2 million by 1890, while Tesla earned about $105,000 in royalties by 1890, the end of 1891, a time that also brought him many personal and professional successes. For Tesla, who officially became a citizen of the United States in July 1891, he set up two personal labs in New York, located at South Fifth Avenue and East Houston Street. On the flip side, Tesla's income from dividends suddenly stopped when Westinghouse's financial situation fell apart. Their plans to grow the company by borrowing a lot of money fell apart in November 1890, after the collapse of the Baring Brothers brokerage firm made worried lenders demand their money back. To recover from his losses, Tesla shifted his focus back to high-frequency alternating current experiments. He invented a lamp that needed only a single wire, along with an oscillating transformer and a high-frequency alternator. He showcased this invention at a lecture in the spring of 1891 at Columbia College in New York, presenting the American Institute of Electrical Engineers to an amazed audience who were astonished by how AC could be used in modern lighting systems. The Columbia lecture made him the top electricity researcher of his time, and in follow-up experiments, Tesla consistently demonstrated that electricity for lighting and power could be sent over long distances. Soon, Tesla was also designing the basic ideas for radio technology. During his 1893 lecture at the Franklin Institute, which was later made popular by Century magazine, he explained the idea of wireless telegraphy and pointed out the importance of grounding the transmitter and receiver to the astonished spectators. That same year, Tesla's company achieved its biggest success so far by lighting up the entire venue of the Chicago World's Columbian Exposition using alternating current. He earned this achievement after outbidding General Electric by $1 million. By 1894, Tesla had gained great respect from his colleagues and received honorary doctoral degrees from Columbia and Yale University, along with the Elliott-Cresson Medal from the Franklin Institute. More positive news came when the Tesla Electric Company was hired to construct the first hydroelectric power plant at Niagara Falls, something Tesla had dreamed about since childhood, which became a reality in 1895 when the initial blueprints were revealed. The Niagara project was a significant victory against the direct energy approach, and Tesla received abundant praise and accolades, including the Order of Danilo from King Nicholas of Montenegro. His success was celebrated globally as a crucial advancement for humanity's future. Tesla remained calm even after a fire in March 1895 destroyed much of his early work at his lab, including hundreds of models, notes, scientific equipment, and photographs, all valued at around $50,000. Despite this, in 1896, he showed that he was one of the first to use the X-ray, which was discovered around the same time by German scientist Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen. He amazed people by publishing the first X-ray image of a person in the Electrical Review using basic X-ray tubes he designed himself. After revealing some of the most creative uses of the X-ray, Tesla then created the main parts of the radio transmitter. He built a simple device in 1896 that could receive radio signals. Tesla shared his findings at the 1898 exhibition at Madison Square Garden, where he showcased a radio-controlled boat he named Teletomaton, leaving the audience in awe. By 1901, he received a patent confirming that he had invented a system for sending electric energy. From 1899 to 1900, after being hired by John Jacob Astor to create a new lighting system for a contract worth $100,000, Tesla moved his lab to Colorado Springs. There, instead of following his sponsor's plans, he chose to study terrestrial stationary waves, which he considered his biggest discovery. In this quiet area, away from the busy life of New York City, Tesla began to build a huge transmitter that used millions of volts of electricity at an experimental site on the edge of Nob Hill. It was here that Tesla first learned that the Earth had an electric charge and could act as a conductor to send electric energy wirelessly. He also noticed that when his Tesla coil was activated, it created sparks that could reach up to 30 feet away, and these could be detected by antennas 10 miles away. Realizing he could send signals wirelessly using the Earth's electromagnetic frequencies, Tesla looked into practical uses for this, managing to light up 200 lamps powered from a source 26 miles away. By using the same effect, he even managed to create artificial lightning. Tesla believed that discovering stationary electromagnetic waves and how they interacted with the Earth had significant consequences. This was a discovery he would spend most of his remaining career studying, as he thought it could allow electricity to be transmitted over long distances without wires. He hoped his work could one day give everyone in the world access to clean and free electric power. However, like many of Tesla's ideas, this was dependent on investors like P. Moran, who wanted to profit from his inventions and only funded projects that would bring them returns. Ultimately, it would be the strong market forces that would hinder many of Tesla's visions. It was during this productive time of exploration that Tesla also made some unusual claims, saying he had communicated with beings from outer space, which caused a series of strange beeps from one of his devices. Tesla first noticed this odd mix of sounds coming from the machine late at night, and thought that the pattern of the beeps suggested an intelligent force was controlling them. He shared this idea in a letter to the American Red Cross in January 1901. Although many skeptics dismissed Tesla's story, some people still believed him. Inspired by theories of Martians, which became popular in 1895 through a book called Mars by American astronomer Percival Lowell, Tesla's supporters suggested he might have made contact with creatures from Mars. Still, focused on the amazing possibilities of earthly stationary waves, Tesla returned to New York in January 1900, eager to find financial support for a big invention that would outshine his scientific competitor, who was also looking into wireless technology, like Reginald Fessenden and Lee De Forest, and especially Guglielmo Marconi, Italian inventors who became Tesla's next major rival after Edison. Wanting to keep his promise from May 1899, in which he said he would communicate wirelessly with Paris by 1900, Tesla sought funding after patenting the magnifying transmitter he built in Colorado Springs. Since the device he envisioned needed to create a lot of electricity from AC equipment, Tesla first approached his old friend George Westinghouse, who refused to get involved, but lent him the needed equipment while most of the project's money came from Wall Street expert J.P. Morgan, who made a deal with Tesla after talks about buying Marconi's wireless patents fell apart. After convincing Morgan that the wireless transmission of messages would make the costly underwater cables his company used for transatlantic communication outdated, Morgan agreed to invest $150,000 in Tesla on the condition that he would own 51% of Tesla's patents. Between 1901 and 1905, with the support of the most significant financial power in the world, Nikola Tesla built a 187-foot-high transmission tower at the Wardenclyffe laboratory, topped with a 68-foot copper dome, which became the first-ever wireless broadcasting system, and was mainly powered by a massive magnifying transmitter designed to send a large amount of electricity to any location imaginable. Confident that connecting receivers to the ground would allow him to capture the electromagnetic waves from the tower anywhere, Tesla was eager to overshadow Marconi, who, in December 1901 in St. John's, Newfoundland, was celebrated by the press as the inventor of wireless telegraphy after successfully receiving the first transatlantic signal from colleagues in Poldhu, Cornwall, England. With a weary Tesla openly stating in newspaper interviews that he thought Marconi had taken many of his ideas from the 1890s, and wanting to keep his supporters on his side, he then revealed plans to develop a world telegraphy system. This advanced communication setup would be similar to the internet of the 1990s, where individual receivers could catch messages and news broadcasts sent from different locations. Tesla imagined various kinds of receivers, including one that could print and publish daily newspapers, resembling a fax machine, another that functioned like a loudspeaker for voice messages, and a third that was a handheld device linked to a short pole that could interpret radio signals, hinting at what we now call cell phones. By the summer of 1902, Tesla had settled into his laboratory at Wardenclyffe, concentrating entirely on boosting power levels. However, after forming a partnership with Morgan to support his project, Tesla found it tough to sell shares to wealthy New Yorkers who thought the investment was too risky. Tesla, who did not share this view, sold $33,000 worth of his belongings and borrowed an additional $10,000 to make his vision a reality, dealing with an extra $30,000 bill from Westinghouse for equipment, a lawsuit from his landlord James Warden for unpaid property tax, and another bill from the telephone company for a special line to the lab. Tesla faced serious financial troubles. His promise to broaden the system's coverage so it could be detected as far as Australia did not convince Morgan, who informed Tesla in July 1903 that he was not going to invest any more money. This unexpected blow to the world telegraphy system infuriated Tesla, and in a classic mad scientist manner, he dramatically increased the voltage of the magnifying transmitter at Wardenclyffe to its highest level, sending lightning bolts into the sky over New York. Looking at it from a risk standpoint, Morgan's choice was quite rational, as Tesla had not lived up to his commitment of creating a transatlantic system in 6 to 8 months, nor a Pacific branch a year later. Some believe Morgan abandoned Wardenclyffe because he feared Tesla would provide free energy for everyone, which would deprive his company of a profitable income. Furthermore, Morgan preferred to put his money into DeForest Wireless Automobiles, a company started by one of Tesla's competitors, which was expected to earn $5 million annually, and had already secured a significant contract with the U.S. Navy by February 1903 to supply the wireless DeForest transmitters. After this period, Tesla, who was no longer the favorite in electrical engineering, struggled to get investors interested. The failure of his Wardenclyffe project changed how both academics and the public viewed him, and the once admired inventor was now seen as someone who couldn't keep his promises. Eager to regain the trust of investors by offering a product, Tesla came up with a plan to sell small Tesla coils to laboratories across the nation through a company named Tesla Electric and Manufacturing Company, which eventually failed due to insufficient funding. Feeling low and unfairly criticized in America, Tesla discovered that his reputation back home wouldn't help him either, as Serbian bankers turned down his requests for money, and his former business partner, John Jacob Astor, was still upset that Tesla used his 1899 loan to study stationary waves instead of working on wireless lighting, and politely declined to help him further. By early 1904, Tesla started offering his expertise as a consultant and began a new project that sought to harness the energy from Niagara Falls with the help of businessman William B. Rankine. Still, Tesla's true wish was always to resume his work at Wardenclyffe, a goal that seemed more difficult to achieve since investors were discouraged by the fact that Morgan held 51% of Tesla's patents, meaning any business partners would have to deal with him to gain financial returns from Tesla's inventions. In response, Tesla sent many passionate letters to Morgan, asking him to take him back. Some letters contained detailed proposals offering Morgan unrealistically high profit returns, while in others, Tesla expressed his feelings of frustration and unfair treatment. Unable to secure financial support and still struggling to get the Wardenclyffe Tower to operate, Tesla found himself in a very low state and started to spiral into a serious nervous breakdown following the unexpected death of his business partner, Rankine, and the downfall of Canadian Niagara Power in the autumn of 1905. In 1906, Tesla bounced back from his breakdown with a new resolve to show his worth. Shifting his attention from electrical to mechanical engineering, he explored aviation to raise funds to continue his work at Wardenclyffe, which he had mortgaged in 1904 to George C. Bolt, the owner of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, where Tesla had lived for many years. The result of his efforts was a turbine that operated without blades, but John James Astor was not keen on the idea and refused to invest in it in 1909. Still, Tesla remained very confident in his invention, securing 2 patents for a pump and a turbine in October, and even launching a new company, the Tesla Propulsion Company. However, after another unsuccessful demonstration at the Waterside Power Station in New York, he continued to dream. About starting his research again on wireless power, he reached out to Jack Morgan, the son of J.P. Morgan, in 1913, hoping he would invest. Jack Morgan, who was more focused on Tesla's turbine designs, gave him $20,000. Instead of using this money as planned, Tesla spent it attempting to convince Sigmund Bergman, a German businessman, to back his project, which ultimately stopped after World War I began. In the following decade, as Tesla's money began to disappear, he kept working on his turbine and collaborated with companies like Pyle National in Chicago, Alice Chalmers in Milwaukee, and the Budd Company in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, he could not solve a recurring issue that ultimately doomed the project, as the thin disks inside the machinery would start to warp when they ran over 10,000 revolutions per minute, and there were no stronger materials that he could use. Due to his difficulty in getting funding for his projects and his tendency to overspend, Tesla's bank accounts were nearly emptied by 1916, forcing him to file for bankruptcy. He confessed that his monthly earnings were only around $350 to $400 after saying he couldn't pay $935 in taxes to New York. Even though he was still listed as the president and treasurer of the Nikola Tesla company, over 90% of the company's shares were held by friends, bankers, and creditors. By then, many of his patents had expired, leaving Tesla nearly broke. To avoid being financially ruined, Tesla filed a lawsuit against Marconi in August 1915, claiming the Italian had wrongfully patented radio technology in 1904. But the case didn't go anywhere, and Marconi still held the title. It wasn't until 1943, a few months after Tesla died, that the Supreme Court reversed the decision. As a result, Tesla had to support himself by creating small inventions and registering a few upgrades for car speedometers, frequency meters, and flow meters, which he licensed to Waltham Watch Company in 1918. The company used Tesla's name to promote their scientifically built speedometers because even with his changing situation, his name still had significant weight, and people still showed great interest in his ideas. For example, in 1917, predicting the future development of radar technology in the 1930s, he suggested that microwave radiation could be used to find ships. Amid his money problems, Tesla continued to have supporters. In 1915, the New York Times reported that he had won the Nobel Prize for Physics together with Thomas Edison, who was once his friend but had now become his enemy. However, during the awards ceremony, the prize went to William H. Bragg and his son because Tesla refused to share the honor with Edison. Tesla also hadn't forgiven the organization for naming Marconi the first person to develop radio technology after Tesla himself had received the same prize in 1909. 2 years later, in 1917, Tesla was acknowledged for his contributions when he received the Edison Medal from the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. This medal is the highest award in electrical engineering. At the ceremony, the vice president of the organization praised Tesla's work, stating, "If we were to remove everything that resulted from Mr. Tesla's work from our industrial world, everything would come to a stop. Our electric vehicles and trains would halt. Our cities would be dark, and our factories would be inactive. His contributions are key to the progress of electrical science." Despite the accolades, Tesla did not value the recognition much. He chose to leave the Engineers Club right before receiving the medal, which led his friend, B.A. Barrand, who nominated him, to frantically search for Tesla. He finally found him in Bryant Park, across from the award venue, where Tesla was preoccupied with feeding pigeons. Tesla was particularly upset that the award was named after his rival. Even though he was recognized for his electrical work, Nikola Tesla stayed poor throughout the 1920s. He earned very little from licensing his minor inventions, which led to several legal troubles. For instance, in June 1925, an attorney named Ralph J. Hawkins sued him for not paying $913 in fees. During this time, Tesla began to withdraw from public life, moving from hotel to hotel, acting as a strange recluse and spending a lot of time feeding pigeons in Bryant Park, near the New York Public Library. On his 75th birthday in 1931, Nikola Tesla found himself back in the limelight as he appeared on the cover of Time magazine. This recognition was largely thanks to a young scientist and writer named Kenneth Sweezy, who received over 70 letters of congratulations that were later published in a special volume from notable scientists, including Albert Einstein. In an interview with Time magazine, Tesla discussed many of his ideas and confidently expressed his intention to challenge Einstein's theory of relativity, stating that he was not convinced by the idea of energy being released from a split atom, as well as supporting the idea of communication between planets. In a talk he found enjoyable, every year after that, Tesla would host a press meet on his birthday, which usually lasted 6 hours. During this time, Tesla would talk to many reporters and tell them about his scientific work and personal life. The party in 1934 stood out especially, as it was when Tesla first mentioned he was working on a particle beam weapon, He claimed in the New York Times that it could send strong beams of particles through the air with such huge power that they would bring down 10,000 enemy planes from 250 miles away and could cause huge armies to fall dead instantly. Expecting what would later be known as mutually assured destruction, Tesla thought that his laser team could end wars entirely, as it was so powerful that no defense would stand against it. Although Tesla sometimes got carried away with his ideas, the death beam was a real initiative, and in 1984, a Tesla study called The New Art of Projecting Concentrated Non-Dispersive Energy Through Natural Media was published. This study explained the basics of a weapon that shot particles of tungsten and mercury at 48 times the speed of sound to create destructive projectiles. Even though Tesla's invention was not possible, it attracted a lot of attention, prompting him to hire Hungarian architect Titus de Bobula to build a new tower for testing the death beam. However, the project would never start because by 1935, Tesla had stopped working with Bobula, who had proven to be untrustworthy after he tried to borrow money from Tesla and involved him in an illegal arms deal in Paraguay. Still, Tesla, being clever, managed to use the buzz around him to his benefit in some cases. He offered a working prototype of the laser beam worth $10,000 to the managers of the Governor Clinton Hotel as a way to settle the $400 he owed them. He warned them that the box containing the weapon could explode if not handled correctly, which led to scared staff putting it in the back of the hotel vault. The laser beam also caught the attention of the international community, and Tesla soon found himself negotiating with the League of Nations and the UK government. However, the project began to fall apart in January 1938, after the British ended negotiations with Tesla, and things took a turn for the worse in 1940 when he was left with nothing after a desperate effort to convince the US government that the laser beam could be a useful weapon for World War II. Tesla's failing health got in the way of his last efforts to connect with governments around the world. His health began to worsen in 1937 after a taxi hit him, and he chose not to receive treatment for injuries that would never heal. Living on a limited diet of boiled vegetables and warm milk, along with keeping a distance of 3 feet from others to stay away from germs, Tesla's health habits didn't help him improve. By 1942, he was mostly stuck in bed, losing touch with reality. As his condition worsened, Tesla withdrew from the outside world. On January 7, 1943, Nikola Tesla passed away from a heart attack while sleeping in his executive suite at room 3327 of the Hotel New Yorker, where he had lived for the last 10 years. He received countless condolence letters from prominent scientists and political leaders globally, including Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of the US President, Vice President Henry Wallace, and several Nobel Prize winners. Tesla's funeral was held on January 12th at St. John the Divine Cathedral in New York City, attended by more than 2,000 people and led by members of the Serbian Orthodox Church. After his passing, Nikola Tesla, who by then held over 700 patents, was cremated, and his ashes were placed in a golden sphere, which remains on display at the Tesla Museum in Belgrade. After Tesla's death, the US government wanted to know if his remaining notes contained anything useful for their military efforts. They examined his documents but found nothing of great significance. By 1951, these documents were returned to the Tesla Museum in Belgrade. However, for many years, curiosity about the laser beam gun lingered because the US government continually claimed they did not possess one of Tesla's microfilms. According to official records, this film was thoroughly examined for more than a month after his death, but the truth of these statements has never been proven. Indeed, there are few people whose work has influenced today's society more than Nikola Tesla. Electric power is now accessible to most people around the world, greatly due to his innovations. He even worked on finding a method for providing free energy to consumers, which may explain why he is held in such high esteem today. However, it can also shed light on why he never profited from his inventions, like individuals such as Edison did. Perhaps it is his vision that makes us admire him so much. Like Nikola Tesla, and a group of modern inventors and scientists who often lacked formal schooling changed their areas of work. They are seen as the strange, crazy genius, conducting experiments and doing calculations by themselves. Nikola Tesla is among this group, even though he might not have gotten the wealth or appreciation he warranted during his life. Since he passed away, he has been remembered as one of the most significant and remarkable inventors ever. I hope you found this video helpful and inspiring. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let me know what topics you'd like to see next. Thank you for watching.